You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast, delivering the knowledge in all things fitness business. We help gym owners win. Here are your hosts, Tim Lyons and Randy Engston.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I am your host, Tim Lyons, and joining in studio today, of course, my co-host, the boss of belief, Randy Engston.
How we doing?
All right, so we got a good episode today, a special guest. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you obviously can see him. But if you're on iTunes or Spotify or all those other audio platforms, you have no idea who I'm talking about. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this guy. You've heard us talk about this guy in the podcast, probably just about every episode.
Yeah, quite a bit. It's a good thing.
He's a very, very important person in my life. He's the fitness director here at Pulse Fitness, Zach Columbia.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Is this your very first podcast episode?
First podcast ever.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah. On the spot.
Yep.
Couldn't be on a better podcast, if I do say so myself. So the reason I want to bring Zach on today is because I want to give the listeners a unique perspective from the other side of the business. You hear me talking about being the owner and being the guy that's, running the operation, but it's really the team, and really Zach of all people is the one really running the gym. I mean, let's be honest.
Yep.
And so I wanted to bring him on. I wanted the gym owners especially to hear the mindset of what a guy like Zach has, and how powerful that could be to finally allow you to maybe remove some of the day-to-day operations out of your life so you can move on to other things and, be able to grow and scale on a different level. So glad to have you here, Zach.
Yeah.
So
glad to be here. I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. Is what do we know about most gym owners, right? They start out as trainers. They're really good trainers. They break off on their own. They start a gym. And before you know it, they're wearing a million hats, and they're at their gym. They're glued to their gym. They're there 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Mm-hmm. They never take a day off, right? Let alone go on vacation.
Forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And really what they are missing is a fitness director. Mm-hmm. And that title of that position is almost a little misleading, right? It's a very natural transition for a gym owner who's doing everything for their business, including a lot of training on the floor, mm-hmm. to step away from the training side of things, but to keep all the other business operations. That's a really natural transition. It's also a really great way for you to stay at your business and be glued to your business and be self-employed, like you talk about, versus being a business owner.
There you go.
Perfect.
Right?
There you
go. You couldn't have said it better. So
I think he's coming after my job next.
Yeah. That's okay. Well, in the path of travel for Zach in our facility, you came in as a coach, right? You came in as a coach. We were at the old location, and and we transitioned over here.
Yep.
And you're a part of the team, just like the coaches we have here now. And when the opportunity arose, I had a decision to make between a couple of the coaches to who was going to fill that when Brent was our past fitness director. When Brent left and we had an opening, and it came down to who had the best business mind. And you have a business degree, right? So a business degree. It was a tough decision at the time, but obviously it's been the right decision.
Yeah.
And that's been
I appreciate that.
That's been solidified again. That was solidified again earlier in a previous conversation we had today. So, and here's the thing, guys. It's sometimes it's somebody within, and sometimes it's somebody from the outside. You don't know until you get somebody in the business, till you see somebody that rises to the top. And if you're a trainer in a gym right now, like this, there are opportunities in facilities. So you can get into this. We call it a fitness director, but is it is it a gym manager? Is it a general manager? What is it? We call it fitness director because, we're a training gym, but it's a fitness director because let's talk about your role. You're overseeing the training team.
Yep.
You're overseeing the programming. You're taking a look at the programming.
Yep.
You are working with clients.
Sure.
So fitness director for us makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he wears a lot of, he does wear a lot of the hats, as you know, and taking a lot of that burden off of you as the gym owner. But like you said, you're right. You still have your hand in the training floor, the program, every single aspect. There's still some influence.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's almost like stepping in for the gym owner, right? I mean, I'm in that role where, like, first thing I did this morning when I got to the gym was run in the bathroom and mop the bathroom floors, right? I mean, that's something that, like, you know, we've got a cleaning crew, we've got front desk staff, we have support staff. But if I weren't here overseeing, you know, day-to-day operations, then it falls on the business owner to take care of something as simple as
mopping the floor.
Mopping the
floor.
Oh, you didn't tell me mop the floor. We need to talk to the cleaning company. So there. I mean, right there says a lot about the individual, right? So if you're, you know, coming in as a fitness director and you notice something needs to be done, regardless of what it is, take the trash out, mop the floor. It's not what you do every day, but you notice it needed to be done, so you just did it.
Yep, we've talked about that.
And to be honest with you, that's not the norm.
It's not anymore. Not with a lot of
employees.
Sure.
They would walk right past that.
Right.
So you have to have the right attitude, right? I can't count how many times I mopped the floor and how many times I took the trash out and trained clients and sold clients.
Literally, I've seen you do that within the last 3 months, 6 months. Like, it's just part of the game, right? And it goes back to, you know, you in the position, you have invested interest in the well-being of the entire organization.
Exactly.
And it trickles down to every single thing that you do. A lot of employees just don't have that buy-in. And in a position like this where there's so many crucial aspects, it's nice to have an individual who feels, you know, the understanding of it just has to get done.
Ownership.
You know what I mean? It's ownership. It's
ownership, and that's, you know, for all the gym owners out there that are listening, that's exactly what you should be looking for when you're looking for a fitness director, right? As somebody that's going to be invested in your business.
So, exactly. And the business mind comes through, right? Big time. So let's talk about some of the things that I'd like to highlight that Zach's done that, with no direction on my part, he's taken upon himself to go ahead and look at numbers, look at some things. So one of the big things that you just did recently, and this is amazing, the charts and the graphs and all the shit you put together for this was pretty impressive. It was color coded too, real nice. Well, take me through why you decided to do it, and I'll chime in. But what it was we felt like we might be overstaffed. We felt like we might need to adjust some schedules.
Yeah.
And we felt like we might need to squeeze our schedule a little bit to make it more profitable per hour. But you decided to take it upon yourself. So what did you do to kind of go through that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember exactly what the motivation for it was, other than the fact that it was, you know, something I was thinking about for a period of time, you know, maybe several months, where I was thinking like, hey, you know, we probably aren't as efficient as we should be. And what was it, like a year ago, we implemented the capacity bonus for our coaching team, right? So we looked at our coaching staff and we said, okay, for each training hour that a coach is on the floor, they can service 5 training sessions, right? And then we look at a quarterly capacity. How many hours were they available for training? And then how many coaching clients or training sessions did they service over that period of time? And we determined what their capacity was. And we came up with the idea of creating a capacity bonus, right? Because, you know, if you have one coach on the floor and they're training 4 people and you have another coach on the floor that's training 1 person, you know, what's the motivation for that person that's training 4 to work harder and earn the same amount of money? So we wanted to incentivize them, right? And so that kind of capacity was the segue for looking at our overall performance and overall capacity for our training sessions. So, you know, if you're a gym owner, this is really easy for you to do, is you just look at the number of members you have at each tier. So basically what we did was, you know, we do 4 sessions a month. We do 8 sessions a month, 12 sessions a month, 16 sessions a month, which is our unlimited, right? We calculate it. We figure on average, our members are coming 16 times. Well, and then you figure out how many members you have at each one, and then you add them all together, and you know how many training sessions you need to be available for
to service.
Sure.
what your liability is, right?
Yep.
At the beginning of each month. And then you know exactly how many coaching sessions you need to have available. And, you know, for us, when we looked at it, we were overstaffed for sure. We had more availability on the schedule than we needed. And obviously, like when you add that all up, at the end of the day, we're paying, you know, for, you know, whatever it is, 20 hours a week. I don't know what it was exactly, but 20 hours a week that you aren't servicing.
Mm-hmm. Untapped. Sure.
Untapped, right?
Right.
And then, you know, wanted to take it one step further. So then you figure out how much revenue you're generating off of each one of those memberships. You can average it out and figure out, you know, for each training session, I have the cost for the trainer or the, you know, 2 trainers, however many coaches I have on the floor at that time, and then what my revenue is for each person that's attending a training session. Use my average for, you know, what the coach's capacity is at, and then I come up with my profit for that hour.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about some of the software that we use is we can see over time the average number of clients for each hour and for each day. So we can look at the schedule and you know, obviously if you're just opening your business, you're not going to start here.
Yep.
But if you've been in business for a while, you can collect the data and you can look and you can say, hey, you know, at 5 a.m., we're super profitable. We've got, you know, this many training clients coming in. And, you know, at 4 a.m., maybe we have 1 client coming in. There's no reason to be open at 4 a.m. Force your clients, direct them into your, you know, available time slots so you can maximize profitability.
Yep. And what's really cool about that is it allowed us to see what hours of the day were the busiest, right?
Yep.
The most demand, what our staffing plan was to make sure that we had coaches available for that. And our boot camp classes, our team training, where, you know, your classes, we could see which times were most, you know, attended, and we removed things because of it. The data told us, hey, there's no point to have the 6 p.m. Or 5 p.m. Friday night boot camp because, you know, we're getting 3, 4, 5 people coming when there's like 10 or 12 coming in the other ones. Let's get rid of that. And we made this massive change. We changed our staffing hours. We changed our training availability. We changed our classing. You know, and we were worried, right? We were like, oh man, what are these clients going to do? They're going to be pissed, you know. And sure, we heard a little bit of grumbling, but since then, and this was like maybe a month ago,
right?
It's fine and it's awesome because it's forced people to get into the sessions we have available. And now there's more people per session, more energy. The clients are happier. The coaches are happier. And it, you know, going back to the capacity bonus, it really helps our coaches. They're not so spread out. They actually have a better shot at the capacity bonus, which is a win-win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, I think on the schedule we had 2 hours that we looked at, and we had on average less than 1 client attending that training session, right?
Well, that's an easy one.
That's an easy,
that's an easy one. I mean, basically we're negative on that one. And then we looked at it and we said, okay, you know, we need to get rid of a couple of team training, which is our boot camp, larger group, because we're going to be more profitable by filling that hour up with our semi-private, you know, training clients during that time. So that's exactly the thought process behind it. And if you think back to when you know, for a lot of gym owners, when they're independent trainers, they're just getting started, you're training 1 client at a time, and you tell your client, hey, you know, I've got tomorrow I've got a 2 p.m. open and I have a 6 p.m. open. Pick one.
Which one do you want?
Which one do you want? And how often was that an issue, right? Almost all the time, the client's like, yeah, I'll take the 2 p.m. Right. They're going to make it work. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't assess your availability and you know, but there's a fine line. Like you got to balance. It's a balancing act to be available and to maximize your profitability. Who doesn't want to make more money in less time?
That's why we're in business, is it not?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because quite often, right, and Tim and I talk about this a lot, the personal trainer that's a gym owner now that's stepping up, and that caring, compassionate individual that wants to just serve, there's that fine line. It still has to serve the needs of the business first. And if you completely cater to just pure open availability, you're going to be that one that's dragged along trying to find a way to stay in business, because you're not thinking with a business acumen first. You're trying to accommodate every single need of every single client and then trying to fit that into your business. This is the other way around. The data is going to tell you everything you need to know. Yep. You analyze that data, you figure it out as a business first. And like you said, I think you said you train your clients, right, to the availability that you have.
Yeah.
I mean, quite frankly, if that client was walking in for the first time and that was your schedule, they wouldn't know the difference. No. The only reason that they, some of them had something to say was because they're coming from a place of there's change, but yep. I know your staff. I mean, I know your clientele pretty well. I've been a long-time member and around the business for a long time. I can guarantee that was an easily, a conversation that went over very easily.
Yeah, like you said, new members coming in don't know the difference. Now, obviously, you never want to operate at 100% capacity, or you don't have room to grow. Which when we're looking at the data, we're going, okay, we're averaging three clients this hour, 5 clients this hour, 6 clients, and then we know, okay, do I need 1 coach on the floor? Do I need 2 coaches on the floor? Should I have a floater?
Yep.
Yeah.
To pick up some of the slack on busier times. For us, we're very seasonal. So our schedule during the summer gonna look different during, the fall, especially the winter months, into early spring, and then it's gonna change again.
Yep. So gym owners, where's your coach that's thinking this way?
Or are you yourself thinking this way?
True.
Let's have that conversation first.
And we talked about it before. Zach, just before, he's like, well, I'm actually acting as what the gym owners out there are doing right now. I'm doing this. I'm looking at the salaries. I'm looking at the budgets. I'm looking at the staffing plan and training clients. And you need to replace that. If you're a gym owner doing all that, you need to find a Zach or find somebody that can think this way or train them to think this way. And then you can finally maybe move on to other stuff. I mean, without Zach, I can't run Profit, and I can't do other things. I would be back doing the same things that you're doing. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I took over as the fitness director, there was like the first month, I think you were gone like 3 weeks out of that month.
My bad.
you were traveling and I know you had STS going on and stuff, and I just remember thinking, okay, what would I want out of one of my employees if they were in this position? And you're a busy guy, Tim. I mean, you got a lot going on, and what I would want is somebody that's going to, 1, think of the business as what would I do if it were my business, and then 2, who's going to make those decisions, right? You talked about leadership before, and it's like, not once have you gotten on me about like making the wrong decision, as long as I had a reason to make that decision. And I remember that first month going, okay, there's really a couple of things here that I need to do. Number 1, I need to learn the systems that have been put in place, right? Yep. And I mean, that was what you had started with. Brent had grown it a little bit, and I was learning it, and then now have progressed with those systems, and furthering them. And the other thing was, hey, Tim's a busy guy. I need to just handle this, right? I need to just act as the business owner. I need to take over. If there's a little issue with the client, I'm going to handle it. If there's a little issue with a staff member, I'm going to handle it. I'm just going to, think of the business as my own.
Yeah.
And run with it.
Yeah, and it's a blessing because I don't hear about the stuff, right? I don't hear about the grumblings and the things that are happening because I know you're handling it. And yeah, you'll bring it to my attention when I need. When like today, right? We had that thing. You're going to tell me about stuff when I need to hear about it. Well, cool. But all the other stuff, that's your role, and you're taking ownership of it. Yeah, which is huge. I mean, come on. I mean, this isn't the norm. Let's be honest. Like, you're kind of not a unicorn, but like this isn't an easy position to find a person like you. It just isn't.
Yeah, pat on the back there.
Yeah,
we got
thank you.
Take it and run.
Appreciate it. Job security.
There you go.
And on top of this, just like a couple episodes ago, we talked about this silly little banner thing, and I gave you all the credit because you said, "Hey Tim, let's throw a banner out there and put the price on it for $350 unlimited, and let's just do it, see how it works." You just sold another one last night. You had a trial off of the banner. We took it down for a week, and people are still coming. Hey, can we still get that deal?
Right.
It's amazing, isn't it? So silly.
So low tech. I mean, I low tech for the win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, thought process there is that's our most popular membership. When you run the data, we have more members that do 2 times a week semi-private training and unlimited team training than any other membership. Now it's close with our unlimited, but the idea was, down the street, you're going to pay $100 a session to work with a personal trainer.
Yep.
People are looking at us and go, man, this is like a premier training studio. They cost a fortune.
That's what they think,
That's
right?
what
That's what they think. And we're like, hey, we're like a third of the price of that trainer you're training with down the street. Oh, by the way, they have 2 time slots available.
2 and 6.
Just to, circle back to what we were just talking about.
Nice.
So
Close the loop.
Full circle. Full circle.
Right. So they're going and paying that high price. So that was what we said on the podcast. We're like, well, these people think we're super expensive. We just tell them what we are, and they're like, hey, I want that deal. And then the sales process of that is like, yeah, sign here. There's no sales process involved.
No.
So you have to convince anybody. They know the price. They know it's a great value. Can I have that deal outside? Yep. Here, let me go ahead and slide this contract over to you, and it's a done deal. How nice is that?
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
I wish they were all like that.
Something I just want to highlight, because obviously, I know we've touched on a lot of things and the position and the mindset and the thought process behind a lot of this. But if you look at everything that you brought to the table, the business decisions that you guys changed all came back off of data. And we continually talk about, Tim and I mentioned on every single podcast how important, especially in the marketing realm, the data is for your business. Guys, this is the other half of the coin. This is your delivery systems. This is inside your business. If you don't know these types of numbers, get with somebody who can help teach you, show you, highlight these things, and then you can implement change in your own organization so that you have the most profitable square foot gym that you can, given your unique, situation. Mm-hmm. This is the things that we help gym owners with. This is the reason that we're on this mission to help gym owners win. But it all comes back to data. We don't make assumptions. I mean, we'll have an idea, we'll have belief on certain things, but if it doesn't make sense when the numbers are there and it's not backed by data, it's not a great choice for your business.
Right. And so we use Mind Body how do they find the data, right? So we use Mind Body here. We've used it in the past. We got away from it. We came back to it. Long story short, what are the reports? If you know them, if you don't, that's fine. Where would they to find their most busiest hours and all that? What's that?
Yeah, it's called attendance analysis, and it'll show you, hey, 5 a.m. your average number of clients at that time for specific time period. We just do it quarterly when we're running the reports. You got 5 people, you got 10 people, you got however many people are coming, and you can, if you do things right and okay, this is the revenue I'm generating from this membership, this is how much revenue I'm generating for each attended training session, then what your profitability is for each training hour. Yep. And you can decide, it's a time as a resource, and you can look at things and you can say, all right, you know what? If I just stop accommodating this one client, I can get out of here an hour earlier, and I can make more money during the hour that I'm, here.
Right.
Or you can use that if you're, a gym owner and you're doing a ton of training and you're trying to find time to do sales. You're trying to find time to do a marketing campaign or, do a coaching call or staffing or whatever it is, all the other million things that go into this business, right? Just gym, but it's like, it's a business.
It's so easy, right?
It's so easy.
Yeah. How about when somebody says, hey, I'm going to go open a gym? I'm like, good luck. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really freeing up your time and making the same amount of money. That's what it comes down to, or more.
Great. Data. I want to circle back to the capacity bonus because we spoke about it, but let's talk about why why it's a super big win for everybody. So you made a point. We've got multiple coaches on the floor. One might be training 4 or 5 clients. The other one's training 1. Why should I work harder than this other guy with no incentive to do so? I'm making the same hourly rate or close to the same hourly rate as the other guy or girl. And then from our standpoint, from the gym owner standpoint, we're like, well, that's true. What can we do to incentivize that and then also make it a win back, not just to give money away, but to circle back and make it a win for retention?
Yeah.
So what we determined to do, and you guys could do this in your gyms, guys. You can look at your team. Maybe you have a team of 5 or 6 trainers like we do, and you basically we just did this. So total sessions or total availability for us, it's up to 5. It was 4 at one time. So and then when we changed it to 5, we changed the percentages. But let's just say, you start at, let's just say 60% capacity. So over the quarter, you take total available training session hours and total attendance. And if it's 60% or higher, or to 70, for instance, we have tiers, you give them $1 per session or whatever it is. I don't know what our numbers are.
It's per client, right? So
per client.
Yeah. So if you're training, if your coach, I think we do 50 cents.
That's 60%.
That's 60%. So if your coach has, 4 people a training hour, they're thinking about it as, okay, I just made an extra $2 this hour.
Sure.
Spending the same amount of time again, right? And working just a little bit harder.
And then we went up to 70%. It was like 75 cents, and then whatever, 90% a buck per client that you trained over the quarter. So at the end of the quarter, we just cut them a check. Hey, good job. If you don't hit that 60%, then you don't get anything. And what that does, and what it has done for us, it's had the coach make sure that the people are coming back and they're taking care of that client, and they're making sure that they're booked for their next session because they want that capacity. They want people on their schedule. That's the motivation to make sure people are showing up. They're texting them, calling them, make sure that they're going to be there. If they don't show up, they're jumping on that because it could potentially hurt them in the long run if they don't have the people on their schedule. So it helped. When you created this, you said, if this was an independent personal trainer running their own operation, would they just let that client walk out the door and not make sure that they're coming back the next session? No,
they lose
they wouldn't.
Full value of that client, right? So, and that brings up a good point too. That structure that you guys have in place is a way of incentivizing your staff based on your business model. Independent training model. There's a bunch of different ways you could pay your staff. This is the way that our belief, the way that we recommend our private clients start training and paying their trainers, but it's because the data and the metrics and control from a business standpoint is taken care of first. It's not just always the interest of that trainer who, doesn't necessarily want to run with the business forever. And, you guys have put in those systems in place to make sure that there's both, your training staff is taken care of, that they have some incentive to go, I don't want to say over-deliver necessarily, but to execute, their job at the best of their ability. And, a little bit of that overage if they want to go and outperform.
And think about this. They want to over-deliver in that session, so that client wants to train back with them the next time.
It really creates a healthy competition in a team environment.
I like the way you put it. Yeah, very good.
Very well. So we don't have independent coaches trying to steal each other's clients, but it's a really great way for our team to self-compete and to elevate their game and feed off of each other in hopes that person is going to say, hey, next time I want to make sure I'm training with this coach. If you're not available, then, I'm sure they're happy to come in because they know they're going to get a very consistent and great workout from the other coach.
Sure. Yeah. To elaborate on that again, the business controls the client experience. It's not dependent upon the individual trainer. I just want to emphasize that because we talk about it a lot of, with the business controlling that customer experience, you need each of your trainers executing the business's decisions, not their own personal beliefs on program and design, what this client needs to do. All of that's handled by the business here. The independent trainers are executing the business's vision. They're just doing it with their own unique personalities, accountability, the energy that they bring.
They want to bring,
so forth.
They want to make it a great session.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that came from Zach. Another thing that came from Zach that just, it's just like, that's why he's in the position he's in, is because he's thinking about these things.
Yeah.
Would I have thought of that? Maybe if I was deep in the weeds again in there, maybe.
Day in and day out,
I can't say that I would, but maybe. But
Yeah.
it was like, when you present it, again, this is how it works. Zach sees a problem. He comes up with a solution. He presents it to me. We discuss it. I think that's a great way to do this. And we implement it. And then we roll it out as a team, and everybody adopts it. And that's just how it's done. So
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. We talk about it all the time. It's be controlled by the business. It's logic based. It's rooted in data, guys. This is not guess. We don't guess anymore.
Yep.
The business runs and succeeds and scales because of the systems in place. Like he mentioned, when Zach stepped into the position, he didn't just come in and disrupt everything. He came in and he learned what Tim had brought in, what Brent had executed on top of that, added his own, touch to it to elevate the situation. But there's systems in place. It's not winging it.
Yeah, we'll go back to the customer experience thing again, because there are gyms out there that have a bunch of independent trainers out on the floor training clients. Maybe they're paying you rent. Maybe you're giving them clients as the gym owner. Maybe they're bringing in their own clients. We don't like that model, or I don't like that model for a lot of reasons. We actually had that model when we very first opened in 2009. We got rid of it within months. It was like, dude, this is not going to work.
I was there.
The reasons I don't like that is you can't control the experience of the gym. So in this corner, you've got a CrossFit coach that's doing like a little small team thing over here with barbells. In this corner, you've got a gal doing band work with elderly clients. Over here, you got a bodybuilder coach that's getting figure girls ready.
Yeah, booty classes over here.
and they're doing pose downs in the mirror and stuff. How do you control the environment? What do you stand for as a gym if you have this style of thing going on? It so if you have that operate, great. If that works for you, cool. But it doesn't work for us, and it isn't the way we teach our clients to run their operations, because we own the experience here. And Zach, we talked about this in a prior episode, the experience, right? Coming down into even the smell. What did he do yesterday? He ran out there and he threw a bunch of these diffusers out there, and now it's like lemony grassy.
Yeah, I walked in and I was like, "What is that?" Something. I was just here.
It
Something
smells
different.
clean, right?
It smells clean.
It's just that added. And we mentioned it, right? Like all of the things that your client experience is not just the results your clients experience. It's the smell, it's the sound, it's the music that's played, it's the energy in the environment. It's like Tim's mentioned, it's before they walk in the door. What is your first exposure to that client, before their first session? Do they know where to go, where to check in, who to speak to? All of that can be cleared up ahead of time to elevate that client experience. There's systems and processes that these guys have put in that execute that.
Yeah, and what you're talking about is client first. Customer first. I'm a very like you, Tim, like you, Randy, very system oriented person. I love the data. I love diving in, looking at how we're doing things, how to improve operational efficiency. But I know that the second that front door opens, client first.
Game
Sure,
on.
absolutely.
Client first. And that was actually a really hard thing for me, because I'm kind of like all in. I'm hyper focused, and so when I'm coaching, I'm like hyper focused on coaching. Hey, this is going to be a great training experience for my clients. But going from that, full time into a director role where now I'm looking at coaching and operations, day to day staffing, payroll, et cetera. I think that, the biggest challenge that I had to ingrain in my mind was stop what you're doing, focus on the client constantly. And really, that's not only our delivery system, but that's how you create ascension.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Right? You have to have that rapport. And I think that was one of the big things that we noticed is when, Tim, you kind of were starting to like taper off of Pulse Fitness, is the members missed you.
I know.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you
Yeah.
you caught some flack for that because they were like, you know, Tim's never around anymore, and now it's kind of transitioned into like I'm that person.
They look at you as me.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
But
Thank you.
don't forget, but don't forget that your clients are craving that relationship.
Totally.
So you could be super system focused, but at the end of the day, like client first, customer first, experience first.
It's business is person to person, regardless.
Yeah.
Like B2B is you know one thing, but you always serve another individual. You're always on the other end. Like we talked about it years ago with our automation. Automation should always point to a face to face. That like that human experience is what I think what you're getting at. Like that element of interaction, of realness. You're never going to get it from just automation and text messages and emails. Like you have to perform in a face-to-face, real person execution.
Absolutely. So for the gym owners out there, maybe Zach, you can speak to this. What should they be looking for from their team if they're looking to start maybe putting this position in place? What should they be looking for? I mean, I'll chime in on it, but like if you're out there, if you're making a decision to replace yourself, what is it you're looking for?
Well, I mean, really, you know, that's kind of a Randy question, right? Because Randy asks the business owners, the gym owners, you know, all about their business. Hey, what do you want for yourself and what do you want for your business? And how many gym owners don't even know the answer to that
Probably
question?
the majority of them. I mean, most gym owners are in a role like you.
Yep.
So deep though that it's almost like they're treading water. You guys feel like, I mean, quite often I feel for you because I feel like gym owners feel like they're drowning. There are so many hats that you guys wear. The only way out is good quality staff, people that you can rely on and trust. That's a big thing between the two of them. I guarantee it. Tim gives Zach the authority to go execute those decisions. We've talked about this, like we touched on, right? Same thing with Profit. We're not going to be reprimanded necessarily for making the wrong decision when
Just make a damn decision, would you?
Yeah, when we all look at the business like it's our own. We treat it as if we're in that position to make the business the best decision for the business first. And the trust that's in place is a big key component to that. But you have to find good quality staff, and you have to have the systems in place. You wouldn't be able to make any of those decisions based on the data if you didn't have a foundation to first look at. And so figure out, I mean, my first recommendation for any gym owner is write a list of your tasks. Write a list of the things that you do every single week. I guarantee half of them you forget. So as you do them, write them down. Then prioritize it based on the needs of the business, based on where you need and want to be in your business, and then start to execute, or, you know, create a secondary list of the things that you feel that you can offload. And
That's exactly right.
I mean,
that's exactly right.
Tim and I talked about our belief when it comes to allowing somebody to step into the role of your business. If an individual can execute that same task about 70-75% as effective as you, train them up, allow them to go do that task. I'm pretty sure we utilize it, but you know, the watch me do it, let's do it together, I'll watch you do it on your own. That coaching process, when you take somebody through that process, it's a very easy way of transitioning and educating them, and then allowing them and giving them the authority to go do it.
That's two things. That's how I taught you on some of the software.
I know.
That's how I taught you on Infusionsoft for sure. I show you how to do it. You do it. We fix it. And it's exactly how we train our coaching staff, our trainers, right? They shadow for a week. They reverse shadow for a week, and then whatever, right? We show you how to do it. We watch you do it, and we do it together, and then you do it on your own. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And Randy, you know, to go back to you know, talking with gym owners, right? If you're looking for a fitness director or what you want out of that position, you really have to ask yourself, what do I want for myself?
Absolutely.
Right? Do I want to be that self-employed person who's tied to my business 40 hours a week? Or do I want somebody, and if you are that person, you know, and maybe you're transitioning and you're saying, okay, I'm going to have a fitness director who's over fitness. They're over the program design. They're over the coaching team. Maybe they're doing sales. And that frees up, instead of working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, now you're working 40 hours a week. That's one thing. And you can kind of transition, and then you can give that person more and more responsibility. If you have the right individual who's owner focused, right, and you can see that business acumen that they have, then you can definitely give them more and more responsibility and remove yourself. And Tim, you can teach any business owner on how to do that, because you've put the systems in place where I'm accountable to you without you really having to, be locked into the business, and be present day in and day out.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't understand how we have this operation where I'm maybe 4 hours into it. Like we have our director meeting.
Yep.
It's 1 hour a week. We got our team meeting. It's 1 hour a week. And then I'm around. Zach, you need me? You hit me on the Voxer all the time.
All the time.
Right. And so how does that even work? Well, obviously you have to have systems. Rick Mayo talked about it. Like
Absolutely.
You start with systems. Then you got to have the team. You got to have the people that are in the right seats on the bus.
Yeah,
right?
we talked about that a little bit. In your job descriptions, your org chart, and understanding the roles each person has to fill. You have to have them written down. I mean, there are things every single day that these two would do that are just so natural they wouldn't think about it, but you do it all the time.
And guys, if you need help, this is part of our coaching program. This is what we do over our 8-week coaching program is to determine the roles and the staff and the job descriptions. And we've got all that for you. All that's covered. If you're listening to this like, oh my God, where do I start? Well, you start with a call with us.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You head over to pfmarketingsolutions.com/call. You book a time with Randy. We're gonna talk about your business a little bit. We're gonna see what do you want. That's probably the first question you'll ask them. Where you've got this thing, you created it, you put probably a ton of money into this and time, and now it's maybe 2, 4, 8 years down the road, and you're in the same position that you were when you first opened, and you want more. So that's the first question. We'll figure that out. But then, as with our 8-week coaching program, delivery systems, staffing, the fitness director role job descriptions is part of the coaching program. I give that to you guys. So if you need that, we have that. We have the org chart, everything you need to run a business as a business owner.
Effectively, efficiently, and scalable, and not scalable on your shoulders. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
The whole reason that I guess the goal and the premise behind the way we organized our coaching program is truly to take that self-employed business owner who's still in the trenches every single day, quite frankly, probably on the training floor the majority of their time, and to allow the systems and the staff and the burden of the business to be delegated, handed off, automation, spread. Yeah, exactly. So that you as the owner doesn't have 500 roles. You've got a couple key ones, and then you can choose. This is a big part of it too. Tim still has his hand in some of the, the marketing side of the business is still, in Tim's wheelhouse. It's still in something that we as Profit kind of take on, but that's a choice Tim makes. If he didn't want to, he didn't have to go do that. That's something he's interested in. It's a passion of his. Obviously, he's great at it, so he chooses to do that. But my biggest piece of advice is as you start to transition, because it's not necessarily for the true business owner or the guy that is already there, but the person that's transitioning, one of the fastest ways to elevate and increase the speed of that change is to, as you free up your time, then turn around and look for other income-producing activities in your business that you can spend your time doing. It's not only about just free time, and it will be if that is your objective and goal. But in order to make more money for the business, put your as a gym owner, you have to realize you're the most valued time in that organization. Spend it in other areas that are going to make you more money.
Right.
You can offload
and you'll
that.
Probably end up doing something else like I did. I couldn't sit at home all day.
No, exactly.
Me? There's no way. Like, hey, Zach, you got it, and I'm just sitting there eating bonbons on the couch watching, the program. Best movie ever. You guys seen it? The program.
Seat at the table.
1996.
But we work with business owners that are across the realm, right? So we've had independent, literally one-man shows that are further, have a longer transition out of that role. All the way to fully staffed gyms that have everything in place. They just didn't have the systems built in and on paper to effectively run the business without that ownership. So, wherever you're coming from, understand that, there is an answer. If you are looking to create that change, reach out. We will help. The first call with me is going to be an exploratory call. We're going to dive into your business and discuss the needs. But you're the one that knows your needs first, not us. We know the ways out, but they know the needs.
Yep. So anyways, I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this episode. I wanted you guys, girls, everybody, I wanted everybody to get a sense of what the mind is like in a role like Zach, who is our fitness director that allows me to remove myself and do other things and, leverage time and do other things and get into other opportunities. What did that look like? Hopefully you guys found value in that. I mean, I when I thought about bringing you on, I was like, man, this is the perfect episode because so many gym owners are stuck. They're like, what do I do next? Well, you find a Zach, but you have to have the systems in place first, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So,
right. And how many business owners just say like, hey, if I could clone myself, myself.
I talked to somebody the other day.
True.
Well, I can't put 15 unicorns in my locations and things like that. No, but you can train. I don't want to say anybody, but you can train an individual up into becoming that unicorn if you have the systems in place in your business.
Yeah, and think about your business. It might not just be a fitness director. It might be multiple coaches, right? Maybe you're delegating tasks. With our business, I'm the fitness director, but we have our coaches that each have administrative responsibilities that help support me, because otherwise I would be in your shoes where you're, stuck at the business 60, 70, 80 hours a week. So it's really a team effort, but you have to map it out.
Well, I'll give you another plug. Yeah, he's decided that there's a lot of other things that these coaches should be doing. So he's created a checklist that he's given them additional responsibilities. Yes, we did addendums to the job descriptions and stuff like that. Thank you, Aaron, on that one. But now he's actually delegating down to the team things that he sees are a need and didn't come from me. He came up with it and decided these are things that need to get done.
Yeah.
So expect probably about 7 or 8 job offers after this. But he ain't going anywhere, guys. All right, so
good luck.
Yeah. So that being said, guys, thank you, Zach, for joining us. Yeah. Randy, as always. Until next episode, guys, keep changing lives. And if you need to get on a call with us, pfmarketingsolutions.com/call. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Take care.